You know, have you ever really stopped to think about what makes something, anything, possible? It turns out that everything that exists is kind of built on this foundation that's completely invisible, a set of rules and histories that we can never, ever fully know. Okay, so take a look at this. It's just a simple square. Seems basic, right? But what does it really take for this shape to exist? Right here, for you to see it right now? Well, the answer goes way deeper than you might think. The answer, believe it or not, is everything. The entire history of the universe had to unfold in one very specific way for this square to appear on your screen. And here's the paradox. That history is so vast, it's actually impossible for us to ever completely understand it. And this brings us to a really powerful idea. We're talking about preconditions. You can think of them like the invisible operating system for reality itself, the total, complete, and utterly massive set of circumstances, laws, and events that allow any single thing to be possible in the first place. So these preconditions are always there, humming in the background, but they're always just out of reach. As a source material for this explainer puts it so well, they're like an unreachable horizon. They make the whole show possible, but they themselves stay completely hidden from view. All right, let's dive back in with our square. It looks so simple, but as we're about to find out, its foundations stretch all the way down into the deepest, weirdest mysteries of the universe. Okay, we start with the shape we all recognize. 4 equal sides, 4 right angles. Easy enough, but a side is really just the space between 2 points. Okay, so what's a point? An infinitely small, specific location. Well, this is where reality gets really strange. Down at the quantum level, a definite single point doesn't even exist. There's only a quantum foam, a blur of probability. So just think about that. We don't even know the full preconditions for the most basic building block of a simple square. And this isn't just some weird problem for physics. The mystery of preconditions runs just as deep right inside our own minds. So this really splits the problem into 2 huge unknowns. On one hand, you've got the physical preconditions. The very fabric of the universe is fuzzy and probabilistic, so we can't actually pin down a single point. But on the other hand, you have the mental preconditions. I mean, what allows the perfect idea of a square to even pop into your consciousness? We don't have the preconditions for that either. Now, you might be thinking this is all getting a little abstract, but this search for preconditions, it's something you do every single day, whether you even realize it or not. Every single time you ask the question, why? Why did that project fail? Why do I feel this way? Why on earth did they say that? You are fundamentally searching for preconditions. You're trying to dig up all that hidden data that made the event possible. And this drive is everywhere. We're hunting for preconditions when we try to understand history, when we navigate our relationships, when we debate art, or search for the truth behind a news story, or try to make a moral choice. It is woven into literally everything we do. But here's the big catch. Just like an iceberg, what we see is only a tiny fraction of what's really there. Our search for why is always incomplete. We might uncover some of the reasons, sure, but we never, ever see the total set of preconditions that's hidden way down below the surface. And this even applies to ourselves, which is pretty mind-bending. The source material points out that when you ask someone, hey, why did you do that? You hit this wall, this impossibility of discovering the total preconditions. They can't give you the full story because they don't have access to it either. It's an unreachable horizon for all of us. So if every why just leads back to another why, then where does the whole chain stop? Well, this leads us to maybe the ultimate human quest, the search for a beginning. Just try to picture it, a vast, interconnected web. Every single event, every object, is just a node in this web, connected by an infinite chain of preconditions stretching all the way back to the dawn of time. This is so much more profound than a simple butterfly effect. In a lot of ways, our entire history of thought has been a search for the start of that chain. Religion talks about a creator god, a source with no preconditions. Philosophers like Aristotle imagined an unmoved mover. And, of course, modern science points to the Big Bang. Each one is an attempt to find the one thing that started it all. And this isn't just a coincidence. It really seems to be a fundamental tendency of the human mind. It feels like we are absolutely wired to search for that first domino, that single cause that set everything else in motion. So we're left with the ultimate question, aren't we? If everything is the result of something that came before it, all part of this unbreakable chain of preconditions, what about the very first thing? What existed before there was a before? That right there, that is the invisible horizon we're all standing in front of.